And today's podcast topic sits right at the intersection of grief, love, ritual, and the unique bond people have with their animals. I'm joined today by independent celebrant Mimi Marriott, who is based in Surrey and specialises in creating bespoke and heartfelt ceremonies. Her services include weddings, vow renewals, funerals, memorials, and naming ceremonies, and pet farewells, all crafted to reflect individual values and stories. In today's podcast, we are focusing on pet farewells, a heartwarming and respectful way to honour the bond and companionship of our cherished pets. Stay tuned. Welcome back to Alison McQuinney podcast, where we have conversations about business and well-being success. And today, a warm welcome goes to my guest, Mimi Marriott, who is an independent celebrant. Now, Mimi has a rich and varied background in acting, charity event planning, mediation, editing, copywriting, and 23 years as a Justice of the Peace. She brings empathy, creativity, and professionalism to every ceremony she crafts. And today we'll be looking at pet funerals in particular. So, Mimi, a very warm welcome to the podcast.
Thank you, Alison. Thank you for inviting me.
You're most welcome.
Feel very privileged.
Most welcome. Can I start off by asking what inspired you to become a celebrant, specialising in pet funerals?
I think that the specialising in pet funerals came from talking to my sister, one of my sisters, and my niece, both of whom are absolute pet lovers. I was chatting to them about their relationship with their dogs, and then Vanessa asked me if I would become godmother to her very special, very large black Belgian shepherd who just happened to be diagnosed with ADHD by the vet. And just seeing what their pets mean to them. I mean, pets have always meant a lot to me with the family, but talking to those two in particular made me want to do something very special with them, in the future. So that's what really prompted me.
And how did friends and family react when you told them that you were going into this niche?
They thought it was an amazing thing to do, actually, because they know how I feel about animals. As a family, we've always had animals and loved them to bits and always celebrated their lives. Some friends were not quite so understanding, but when I explained it to them, it came across as what I wanted it to be, and that is a celebration of that animal's life and a celebration of what it's meant to the pet owner.
Because they're important, aren't they?
Very, very important.
What training or skills have been most valuable in helping grieving pet owners?
Oh, I think my professional training as a celebrant for humans, it gave me all the skills necessary and all the training necessary for it, because it is no different. Our animals are just as important as our animal relationships are just as important as our human relationships, and so therefore it just follows that the same training has helped me to perform celebrations, ceremonies, but my ceremonies are always celebrations, and so that training has helped me.
And what do you love most about this work?
I think I love seeing, I mean, when you initially meet people, they're obviously grieving.
Mm,
But when you sit down with them and talk about the animal, what it's meant to them, what it's brought to them, um, you can see the joy coming out from most people and helping them to actually um, to actually put something together where they can remember all that joy and, you know, forget the grief for a little while.
mm,
I mean, the grief doesn't go away, obviously, that quickly, but to be able to celebrate a pet's life is just as important as celebrating a human's life. And I love seeing, especially with a child, seeing the joy on a child's face when they perhaps let go rainbow balloons or something at the end of the ceremony, and just knowing that they are a little more content and happy, knowing that their pet is in a safe place.
yeah,
So yeah, it's just seeing that joy, really.
yeah. Touching on pet grief, why do you think the loss of a pet can be as devastating as losing a human family member?
Well, pets are your family, aren't they?
Mm,
Really, for most people, they're part of your family, and often they're a larger part of your family than humans, because um, your day can sometimes revolve around it, depending on what the pet is, obviously. But we're solely responsible for their life and their quality of life. And because they are a part of the family, it is
yeah,
just the same as losing a human family member. It's like having, you know, your pet is a part of the family. It's there for you when, you know, if it depends what it is, I suppose. If it's a dog or a cat or even a hamster or something that you have at home, it's there to greet you. It's there for you to cuddle and to love, just the same as having a mum, dad, brother,
mm.
sister, son or daughter. So it is exactly the same.
Do you think society sometimes underestimates pet grief?
Oh, definitely.
Yeah,
Especially if, you know, a lot of people don't understand the relationship that some people have with their pets.
yeah,
If you've never had a pet, then it's much harder to actually understand that connection, that unconditional love that they give. So I think people do really underestimate it and can be quite sort of dismissive of pet grief. And
mm,
that's something that I'm trying to change in my own small way, because people need to understand that it is the same as losing a human when
yeah,
you own a pet.
yeah,
You know, if you have a pet, you want to have that pet. It's something you choose to have. And so therefore, that love that you have for that pet is so special. And until you've had that, until you've experienced that, then, you know, it's very difficult to understand.
And quite often pets give back unconditional love, don't
Oh, unconditional love is there
they? Yeah,
completely. And that's a huge part of having a pet, because they they don't judge you. They're there for you. Um, they're a big part of keeping people calm as well. I mean, there's something called the parasympathetic nervous system,
yeah,
um, which can, you know, calm you down, bring down your blood pressure, um, and really make you feel better, make you feel well. And that comes from unconditional love, by having something that will give you love no matter what. It will be there for you. You sit there and stroke the animal or cuddle the animal, and that calms you, brings down the blood pressure and everything else. And that's why I think having animals going into nursing homes and hospitals, places like that, it helps the patients,
mm.
because that parasympathetic nervous system is brought down and helps people to feel well. So yeah.
Do you know, in healing, because I'm a healer,
Yes.
when we give healing to somebody, that is the state that we're aiming to get them in, the parasympathetic state. The other state being sort of on alert,
Yeah, exactly. This
adrenaline fuel, but
sympathetic
this is
state.
about relaxation. And getting someone into the parasympathetic state really helps healing because it positions the body to help repair itself where
Mhm.
possible. So it's a
Absolutely.
hugely important state to be in.
It really is.
What do you feel are some common emotions people experience after losing a beloved pet?
They feel a huge sense of loss.
Mm,
Um, Depending on how the pet died. I mean, if you have an animal who's old or has been ill for a long time, then the feelings you have afterwards are slightly different to if an animal dies suddenly.
yeah.
If you can love and look after your animal as it's getting older or when it's ill, then you know afterwards that you have given it the best you can. However, there is always that sense of, have I done enough? Have I made the right decisions? Did I do all the right things? Much the same as you would do for a person,
Mm,
I think. But there is sort of anticipatory grief attached to an animal who is slowly dying or is old, and that can really eat you up. So that sense of grief and loss is huge.
mm.
Even if you have done everything you can for that pet, there is still that sense of, have I done enough?
And
And
have I
even
done the
though,
right thing, which
and
is
have I done
huge.
the right thing? Vets take it out of your hands sometimes by saying, this animal, is in pain, it can't go on living as it is. But you still have to make that decision.
Mm,
And that can give you a great deal of, I don't know, just, have I done the right thing? Could I have kept him or her alive for a bit longer? But I have to say, I think I went through an experience a very long time ago. My parents had a beautiful border collie called Nelson, got one green eye, one blue eye,
oh, wonderful.
and a black patch and a white patch. And he was a big, lovable dog, absolutely adored by everyone in the family. And I went home one weekend, the whole family were there, and Nelson hadn't been very well. And this day he couldn't get up. He was, and we called the vet, and she said, look, it's cruel to keep him alive. It's time. And everyone was distraught. Nobody wanted to go with Daddy to the vets except me. So I went, Daddy drove me. I went in with Nelson into the surgery with the vet, and I just stroked him. And as the vet went to put the injection in, Nelson looked at me, and I swear it still makes me tear up. It was almost as if he was saying thank you, and he just went to sleep.
Mm,
And that was a huge moment in my life, which I've never forgotten, and it was a long time ago.
mm.
But it's there, and it was the feeling of having done the right thing at that time. So even though there was that sense of grief and loss, I knew that it was the right thing because Nelson had almost told me it was the right thing for him.
Of
So
course.
that was a very important lesson in my life.
And talking about pets, obviously a lot of children will be involved because a lot of children have pets.
Yes.
What tips do you have for telling a child that their pet has passed over?
There is something called, I'm sure lots of people will have heard of it, the Rainbow Bridge. And if you explain to a child that their pet has gone to this beautiful meadow, a heavenly meadow, you have to be careful. You have to, it depends on the child if they've got any sort of religious background or not. So you have to be careful of the words you use. So you can just say a beautiful meadow or a heavenly meadow, and that pet is there and is happy and well and romping around with other pets. When it comes to the pet owner passing, the pet will meet the pet owner at the beginning of the rainbow bridge, and they'll pass over that rainbow bridge together. It just gives a child and the grown-ups, I think, because the first time I heard it, I thought, oh, that is such a beautiful picture to have in my head. And it helps that child to actually picture their pet, whether it's a goldfish or a horse or whatever it is, being happy and being with other animals and waiting for them and knowing that they'll see each other again. So
that's huge, isn't it?
To me, that's a lovely way of. There's an actual poem which is beautiful, and I would sort of read that to the child and explain it to them.
And what tips do you have for supporting a child through the grief process? That's a lovely start.
I think that's a lovely start, and the rainbow connection is really important, I think, because I know I've seen my sister in particular, Vanessa, who's always had dogs, always loved them like children. And for her, whenever she sees a rainbow, she will say, oh, Holly was with me today, or Lizzie was with me today. It has that feeling of the pet still being around. And for a child, I think, to have something physical like a rainbow to see, and having been told that story, that would help. I also think that having, it depends on how young the child is, but buying a soft toy that's similar to perhaps the pet they've lost, something for them to cuddle, is a good way to help them as well. And obviously, when you come to the ceremony, there are different rituals and things you can do which will help the child to just to move forward, really.
Sure. Turning to the actual role of a pet funeral celebrant, I'd like to sort of go through what exactly you do and what exactly it covers, please.
Okay, well, it is very similar to what I would do with a human. So I will go and sit with the family and talk to them, find out as much as I can about the pet, because it's really important to get the essence of the pet into the ceremony. So I will go and I will chat to the family for however long they want to chat. I will get them to regale me with stories, photographs, memories, and then I will put together a ceremony depending on what they want. Some people want more than others, obviously. Some people would want it in their garden. Some people would want it at the pet cemetery. But the most important thing is to find out what the family want and how they want to remember that animal, and to give them a bespoke ceremony that is a celebration for that animal's life.
And what kind of rituals are available?
Oh, all sorts of things. Whatever you want, really. I mean, with an animal, it's even easier than with humans, because they you can do whatever you want. So I would first of all, we'd sort of decide on the space where we're going to do it. That's important. So you can do it in your garden, you can do it in a special field, you can do it by the fireside, you can do it in the pet cemetery, or on a special walk. If it's a dog or a horse or something like that you went walking with, you might have had a special walk, and you can walk along that walk doing the ceremony. You can, I would always get, if there are children involved, get them to draw their favorite memories of the pet and display them. I would have a photo board, and I can always make up a photo book for people if they want that. And you can plant if you're doing it in the garden, you can plant a rose or a tree or something like that. A lovely thing to do is to have a memory tree. or a big memory plant. And then everybody who comes to the ceremony can write something on a little piece of paper and attach it to the memory tree. And it'll be a memory of that they have of that pet. Music's important, because for some animals, you know, music, they're very sensitive to the vibration of music. My sister told me a story when I was talking to her about this. The first dog she ever had, Holly, who was an absolute angel. If she was stressed at night, as she sometimes was, she lived just off Clapham Common, so it was a bit noisy and there was always sort of ambulances and things going around. Vanessa would put on a piece of Mozart, a flute and harp concerto, and Lizzie and Holly would just go to sleep. I just love that story. Anyway, so that you would, there's also things like at the end of the ceremony, if you have rainbow balloons, give everybody a balloon, and at the end of the ceremony, you let them go. And I think that's visually, that's a beautiful thing to do, especially, well, for anyone really, but especially for the children. And I think it's important to have lots of, as you would for a memorial for a human, have lots of stories and pictures around about the animal. And also there's some beautiful poems that you can read. There's a lovely one by Rudyard Kipling called 4 Feet, which I love. Lots of them. So I can come up with all sorts of things like that. So really it's what, as big or as small as the pet owner wants.
Yeah. And how can friends and family best support someone grieving a pet?
I think they can talk to them about it. Don't ignore it. Don't ever ignore the fact that somebody's lost a pet. Talk to them about their pet, especially if they knew the pet. Don't ever say, oh, you can get another one. That is absolutely the wrong thing to say. Don't ever say that to anyone. And I think that would probably come from somebody who didn't have that relationship that didn't understand the relationship with the pet. But just comfort them and talk to them about the pet and remember the happy times and all the joy that they brought. I think it's really important not to avoid the subject.
Yeah. And to allow people to talk about it if they want to.
Just listen.
Yeah.
Listen, and encourage them to talk about their memories, their happy memories.
Have you ever been surprised by the impact a ceremony has had on a family?
Yes, I think with every one I've done, I've seen that there is almost a release. There's a sort of sense of moving forward, and even though they're still grieving, there is a sense of peace and release in the families, and they find it easier to talk about it and to smile and remember. So I think just going through that ritual of saying goodbye is so important, because it helps you to transition to the next stage where you can move forward, and you never forget, obviously, and you will grieve for a long time. But I think you realize that it's okay to grieve after you've had this ceremony and said goodbye with friends and family and just had a joyous occasion.
Has this work changed your perspective on animals' life and loss?
Definitely. I mean, I can't have an animal at the moment because I'm renting, which is, anyway, it's fine. I can't have one. However, being godmother to my sister's dog was wonderful. She, unfortunately, Lizzie went up to the Rainbow Bridge a few months ago. But just seeing how animals brings such joy to people. I've seen it, you know, obviously with all my family, but seeing the joy that it brings to people. My niece is also another example. She and Nellie are they're just like that, and that it's just seeing that relationship between pet and pet owner, and knowing that there is that unconditional love there, and it is the most special thing in the world, because, you know, having had children, I unconditionally love my children no matter what they've done. But with a pet, that unconditional love comes back the other way, and it doesn't matter what you say or do. They don't judge you. And I think as I've got older, I've realized how much, or how important a pet is to a person. And it doesn't matter what it is. You know, I had my daughter won 2 goldfish when she was, how old was she? 16, I think. 250p goldfish she got. And, you know, she went away to university and did what. These goldfish lasted for 19 years.
Wow.
I looked after them. I loved them to bits. And I love those goldfish like my sister loves her dog. Because, I mean, it sounds silly, but I would go in at night and I would talk to them. And they never answered back, but they were there, and they were a comfort. And so I think that, and I think more and more people realize the advantage of having a pet, and that unconditional love they give. I think during the pandemic, there was, you know, lots of people got pets to change the dynamics of their life, I think, at the time. But and obviously there was a lot of fallout after that, but there were also a lot of people who realized for the first time what it meant to actually have that unconditional love from a pet.
Yeah. Are more people arranging pet funerals these days? How's that changing? Because certainly when I was growing up, I don't recall pet funerals really existing.
No, it is slowly growing. It's very slow. But I'm out there talking to people about it and telling them, you know, what I can do for them. I mean, yes, I mean, when I was a child, we always had pet funerals for whatever it was, whether it was a goldfish, a hamster, a dog, whatever. And, you know, we would always have a little ceremony and bury them in the garden. Not the dogs, but and I think that more and more people are realizing that it is a beautiful thing to do. Only because there's people that, well, there's not many people like me doing it yet, but they realize that they can actually do it, and that it is a good thing to do, because it does help them with their grief.
Yeah. Yeah. Can pets be cremated as well as buried?
Yes, they can.
They can.
There are quite a few pet crematoriums around now, which are, most of them are really quite beautiful places, and you can have a memorial service there, a funeral there, or a memorial there, or you can have the pet cremated and then have a service in your garden. But there are quite a few of them around now in Surrey and Sussex and Hampshire, and they are beautiful places. So you feel it's not just a matter of leaving your pet with the vet anymore. You can actually go to one of these beautiful places and have it makes it feel a bit more special.
And are certain pets celebrated differently from dogs and cats to, say, for example, horses?
Horses, absolutely. It depends very much on what the pet owner wants. But it doesn't matter what the pet is. I will sit and talk to the pet owner and the family and find out what they want. And anything is possible. From a hamster to a horse and everything in between, iguanas, lizards, spiders, snakes. Once a pet is cremated, then you know, the possibilities are endless.
Mm.
But, you know, obviously with a horse, then we might do the ceremony in their favorite field or on their favorite walk, something like that. But yes, anything is possible. It's whatever the pet owner wants.
Do you find you're ever called in to hold the space for a pet owner as their pet is passing and conduct a sort of ceremony as the pet
Hold
is
the space
passing?
ceremony. Um, it's not something I've done yet, but I would be very happy to do that
Yeah,
because I think just having the knowledge that I've got would possibly help somebody to go through that. But it would have to be with somebody obviously I knew well. I think maybe, I don't know, because I haven't done one yet. But I would be very happy to do that.
yeah.
I think
And
it's important.
yes, absolutely. Do you find that people ever hold memorial services years after a pet has passed away?
Yes. Because as with humans, sometimes the grief at the time is too great.
Mm,
And having a memorial a couple of years later or something, that initial grief has faded and it is easier to have a celebration of life. So yes, I have done a couple of memorials where 2 or 3 years later, and it really has been a celebration because that initial grief has gone and they
mm,
can remember the happy times and their friends come and their animal friends come. I think it's important when you have a ceremony, if you can, if it's a cat or a dog or whatever it is, if they had cat friends or dog friends, it's important to invite them as well, so that there's a family feeling of animals as well as the humans. But yes, having a memorial a few years after is much more of a celebration, I think, or it's easier to have that celebration.
yeah. If you could leave listeners with one message about loving and losing a pet, what would it be?
Um, I think it would be to remember that you had the most amazing relationship together, and to remember those happy times, to think of all the good times you have had, to think of what you gave the animal, to think of what the animal gave you, and to know that that animal is waiting for you at the Rainbow Bridge.
Mm,
That's my picture. That Rainbow Bridge story just made it all real for me. And so for me, I would say to somebody, think of all the wonderful times you've had. Think of your pet being in that heavenly meadow and waiting for you, and you will be joined together
mm.
at some stage.
I think what you do helps provide amazing support for
Yes,
people going through a very, very difficult time, for a situation that I think decades ago wasn't really recognised.
absolutely not. No.
And it's important that it is recognised.
Yes. I mean,
Well done
there are specific grief counsellors for
for
you know,
pets.
for pets. Yes, there
Right.
are now. Um, so there are people trained specifically to help you with counselling if it gets too much, which
And
it
where would you find these people?
well, they'll be on my website, but also
Okay.
you can look them up. Just sort of type in grief counselling for animal owners. Um,
Yep.
and I think that's a great thing to have, because it it helps that person who's just lost an animal to realize that actually this is something real.
Yes.
It's not something that people are poo-pooing. This is a real issue
Mm,
and it's real grief. And there are specific people there now to help you get through that.
wonderful. And how can people get in touch with you?
Okay, well, my website is www.mimimarriott.com. It's called Mimi Marriott Ceremonies, my business, and all the information for getting in touch with me is on there.
And you also do other ceremonies as well for humans, don't
Oh,
you? Like
absolutely.
funerals and
Yes.
weddings and stuff.
So I do naming ceremonies, weddings, renewal of vows, which I love. I love it when two people renew their vows, and funerals and memorials. And I like to say that every ceremony I do, whether it's a beautiful wedding or whether it's a funeral or a memorial, they are celebrations of life.
Yeah.
I came into this after a light bulb moment when I was feeling a bit down myself. And I just thought, you know what? I want something in my life where there is a celebration, where I can feel like I'm giving hope and helping people to celebrate lives rather than be miserable about them.
Yeah.
Too much misery in the world. If you can have a celebration, even if it's for something, losing somebody and it's sad and there's grief involved, but it doesn't matter who that person is or how old they are, their life was a celebration.
Mm.
And that's what I like to do with every one of my ceremonies.
Well, thank you so much for coming on the podcast and
Thank you
talking
so
about
much
your
for having
work.
me.
It's such an important service that you provide, and I wanted to bring that to the fore so people know about it.
Thank you, Alison, very much for doing that.
Thank you.
It's been a pleasure. Thank you. Bye-bye.
I would be most grateful if you would please subscribe to my channel here so that I can help grow the channel and reach more people. Thank you so much. Your subscription would be much appreciated.